Saying that you need so and so and you need so and so. So whatever you need, let the library board know, along with Mrs. Service. Isn't that right?
What she didn't tell you was that she was my former teacher in high school. She led me into that. I said, no. But let me just tell you, when I received my invitation, I took it and turned it over, and I wrote 4 notes on it. And 3 of them were secular. I thought about Sam Cooke. It's been a long time coming. James Brown, I Feel Good. Edwin Hawkins singers, Oh Happy Day. And then, giving honor to God, I wrote, The Lord Will Make a Way Somehow. And that's kind of where we are today as we come here to this beautiful facility. And as Ms. Allen said, who was the spark plug in helping to get this done? The $1.5 million that the city of Birmingham has put here is really a joy and a part of an uplift to the community for this. This has conference rooms and meeting rooms, a 3,700 square foot reading room. We're really proud of the fact that it is, the parking lot and the building is ADA accessible, Americans with Disabilities Act accessible, and we were so proud of that. And she mentioned that it was built here on the historic Masonic Temple site. For a second, I would invite Bill Gilchrist to share with you. We had some challenges, and they had to be engineered out. And I'm going to ask Bill to come because some don't understand. They thought that the city might have been dragging its feet on getting it done, but we had some real challenges that had to be overcome. And I would like for Bill Gilchrist, who heads the Department of Planning, Engineering, and SWITS, to talk about some of the travails that we had to overcome and just overcame. Bill, would you speak to some
Sure,
of that?
very briefly. Thank you very much.
And also how we retained the historic character of the Masonic Temple and how we rebuilt.
Will do. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I am going to say, I'm going to be quick because I'm going to get out the door and check out that first book. I made that promise to myself. But very briefly, it was a great opportunity for us to reclaim this corner and make sure that it was an active civic environment, that we did not just have an empty lot, but that we had the library here. Technically, though, once we got underneath to look at the soil conditions, if you remember, it was a very huge building here previously. It was a building that had some partial basements and some other structures underneath. And we had a lot of surprises that were underground once we began to do the necessary excavation for the parking lot of the building. So what was required, we had to come back in with what's called engineered fill. We literally had to bring in soil, bring in rocks, bring in the kind of quality foundation that was needed so that we know this parking lot and this building would stand in perpetuity. We did not want to have any problems with soil conditions. The house is only as good as the foundation is built on. So that was our first challenge. And then just going through regulatory issues, construction issues, working with the contractor through many, many issues. One of which was a sanitary sewer line that we had to work with Jefferson County then to get completed. That also extended the time frame beyond what we had hoped we might originally be able to get done. But as the mayor said, it really was a team effort, and it really was a cause that we all had to put our shoulders to the grindstone to see the fruition. The good news was that while there might have been a few issues that dragged us down, none of them were big enough to drag all of us down. So as a group, we made this thing happen. I'm very proud. Oh, well, the sanitary sewer line, yeah, had to be replaced. As you know, that is outside our jurisdiction. Jefferson County reviews that. And what was put in first time did not quite meet muster. So we had to work with the contractor and the county to get that replaced. That is the last problem you want to have. So that was one that also took some time. And very briefly, I do want to speak to the historicity of the site, the historical character here. Historicity, oh yeah, that's what we very important landmark. And unfortunately, it did burn to the ground and is now in a state. But it was important for us in conceiving the design to pay some tribute to the history also. Because as much as it was important for us to bring a quality new construction here, it's also important for us to remember what the community was. And if you step outside, there's a plaza where we actually have remnant columns of the original building that are placed in there for perpetuity, very much in a classical sense, if you like to think. And there is some explanation about the history of the site, a very nicely incised sketch, actually, of the original Masonic temple building here, and an explanation of this historic significance. So we hope also you'll have an opportunity after you enjoy the inside of the building to go outside and take a look at that. But I cannot tell you how happy I am to get to this day at so many levels. And I want to thank Ms. Allen for riding with me on that elevator and getting this straight. Thank you.
Mrs. Allen mentioned that there was some shortfall in the amount of funding and that the city, the mayor, and the council came forward with it. But actually you did. You might recall that in 2002, the citizens of Birmingham voted for the largest bond issue in the history of the city. And by state statute, you have to vote for the bond issue by categories. One of those categories was libraries. And when the citizens voted, they voted 8-1 and 9-1 for each of the 11 categories. And so the funding that's available to do our libraries in part comes from the bond issue that you, the citizens, approved. So while the mayor and council were responsible for kind of administering it, these were your funds that you put back into your own community. And for that, we say to you so very much, thank you, thank you, thank you.